We are less than a month away from Access Drive, which is presented by Sports Business Journal. The conference begins September 15th in Los Angeles, a 3-day program covering all issues around facility operations, ticketing revenue, business intelligence, franchise management. You'll see private tours of Crypto.com Arena, the Intuit Dome. You will go to Dodger Stadium at Chavez Ravine. You will hear from Clippers owner Steve Ballmer. It's going to be a great couple of days. Learn more about the conference at sbj-drive.com or view the event calendar on our website, or just reach out to me and let me know what questions you have. I hope to see you there. And this is your morning Buzzcast for Tuesday, August 26th. I'm Abe Madkour. Well, I finished Any Given Saturday from Netflix, found that to be a very compelling series. I learned a lot about the coaches, the players, the institutions, and the culture of the SEC, a great platform for that conference. I am 2 episodes into Netflix series on Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, hooked on that as well. Finally, in this week's issue of SBJ, I write about how the extraordinary documentary Earnhardt came to be and why I found it so compelling. Please let me know what's on your watch list as you end the end of summer. You know, while it hasn't been the year that Caitlin Clark has wanted, in fact, it's been incredibly frustrating, I'm sure, there are more indications of the level of her profile and fandom, as she was named a Nike signature athlete on Monday, meaning we will see the launch of a new signature Caitlin Clark logo, a collection of sportswear and apparel, and eventually a signature shoe. Her logo collection will have t-shirts and hoodies and shorts. That's available October 1st. Her first signature shoe and apparel collection will debut next year in 26. She will join fellow Nike athletes Asia Wilson and Sabrina Ionescu as active WNBA players with signature sneakers. So while Caitlin Clark not on the court as much as she had hoped, or that we had hoped, she is certainly continuing to grow her profile. One of the biggest trends we're seeing in the sports business is the nexus between athletes, sports, and fashion. We know the walkway and the tunnel walk to the locker room has become the new runway in fashion. Athletes work hard to make their fashion a key aspect of their own personal brand. And this connection between sports and fashion and music are only going to increase. One of the clearest examples is the NFL signing Abercrombie & Fitch as its first ever official fashion partner. Yes, they became the first ever official fashion partner. So what does that mean? Well, you will see Abercrombie featuring NFL marks in its branding. They're going to open up pop-up shops at NFL venues and NFL games. In a new campaign, you will see players like Fred Warner of the 49ers, Drake May of the Patriots, Jake Ferguson of the Cowboys. They will be styled out in Abercrombie & Fitch clothing, and players wearing Abercrombie will be featured in marketing and social media. So sports properties and brands, they want to be in the middle of this fashion and culture space, so this deal between the NFL and Abercrombie & Fitch certainly makes sense. Staying with the NFL, owners will gather by a video conference today, Tuesday, to hear details about the proposed deal to sell NFL Network to ESPN in exchange for 10% of ESPN equity. No vote is scheduled on the proposal because the deal's not finalized and it still must go regulatory review. But 2 votes by owners are scheduled. One to approve the Cincinnati Bengals' negotiated lease extension with Hamilton County to stay at Paycor Stadium, and another is on the enhanced security measures suggested for the Midtown Manhattan NFL office. This comes after those horrific July 28th shootings at the Park Avenue office. What else will owners hear? Well, staff will update owners on key aspects of this upcoming season: the kickoff game September 4th, the Brazil game on September 5th, Owners will also get a presentation on the new Rivalries uniform concept from Nike. So a busy day today, video conference call, NFL owners talking about the ESPN deal, the Bengals lease extension, enhanced security, and the Nike Rivalries uniform concept. Many of you know I'm a tennis guy. I love the game. I'm heading out to the U.S. Open on Wednesday and Thursday. One name to be thinking about this week, and that is U.S. Open Tournament Director Stacey Alister, who will move on after decades in tennis, as she will next move from tournament director to a special advisory role for the USTA. Now, she will still be involved in tennis, but after 20 plus years of being in the executive suite, she wants more flexibility and she wants to work on some passion projects, which is certainly understandable. Two of her passion projects: one, making sure that children, particularly little girls, have an opportunity to play sports. Number two, Alister loves coaching, mentoring, and sponsoring diverse young leaders to help them rise to executive positions and the C-suite. So Stacey Alister will be focusing on those two projects once the U.S. Open ends in a couple of weeks. She has done a lot for the game of tennis. She deserves our thanks and congratulations on her next adventure. Meanwhile, I hope to see many of you out there this week at the U.S. Open. If there was one story that caught my eye over the weekend, it was the New York Daily News' baseball writer, Bill Madden, talking about potential MLB expansion and realignment. And his point was that he doesn't believe that either of these aspects will happen. Bill Madden, when he writes, people listen. And he wonders if Commissioner Rob Manfred is floating out possible expansion as a bargaining point for the next collective bargaining agreement, as players may be open to being flexible on tough issues, maybe a salary cap, if there are almost 50 new jobs being created around the league with 2 new teams. But Bill Madden believes there's almost no appetite in baseball right now for expansion, and he also argues he believes the A's will never make it to Las Vegas because he believes the increasing cost of that new ballpark, said to be over $2 billion, will be too much for A's owner John Fisher. So Madden doesn't believe the A's owner is going to have the long-term stomach to go forward with that deal with the price increasing as it is. He also believes that we are overestimating the potential expansion site in Nashville. He believes both the Braves and the Reds, who are very, very much opposed to any team in the Nashville market because they consider that their market, they will be very opposed to this. They will fight this. And those owners for the Braves and the Reds do have some influence. So a number of interesting takeaways from a well-sourced baseball writer. Staying with baseball, there have been a lot of changes at the Washington Nationals. GM Mike Rizzo, he was terminated. There have been a number of changes on the business side. Well, the team has brought on a CRO. Chris Zaber started in that role on Monday. He'll oversee ticket sales and corporate partnerships. He was most recently CRO. He was at the Penguins. He was at the Mets. He was at the Pirates. But again, a lot of changes at the Nationals. Remember, the team won the World Series in 2019, but they have finished last or next to last in the NL East every year since. They have not reached 2.1 million in attendance in any of those seasons. So again, there's a lot of work to be done. They've gone through a couple of people on the business side. Remember Mike Carney? He departed the organization in May. They used to have Jake Burns. He is now, of course, at Tepper Sports. Valerie Camillo, she was Chief Revenue and Marketing Officer before going to Philadelphia to work at Comcast Spectacor. So again, a lot of changes on the business side. Now they have Chris Saber. We will see if the team begins to fill other open roles going forward. Finally, I'm wishing the best to one of my friends, Oklahoma State Athletic Director Chad Weiberg, one of the good guys in the sports business, recovering from open heart surgery earlier this month. He's only 53 years old. He had a 6-hour surgery on August 2nd. I'm sure that was scary, but he's doing well. He's doing as much walking as he can, then will slowly re-enter life as an athletic director, and I'm hoping he takes his time because we know the challenges and the stresses an athletic director is under today. So best wishes to Oklahoma State Athletic Director Chad Weiberg. So a couple of takeaways from today's Buzzcast. One, the connection between fashion and athletes will continue to grow stronger. Athletes really use their fashion sense to establish their look, their feel, their profile, and yes, it's overused, but their brand. Two, if you have not started watching the Netflix series on Jerry Jones's ownership of the Cowboys, I suggest you do. And three, a hat tip to Stacey Allister as she presides over her final U.S. Open after more than 2 decades working very hard to grow the game of tennis. I'll be in New York City for the rest of this week. My colleagues will bring you the Buzzcast, but this was your morning Buzzcast for Tuesday, August 26th. I'm Abe Madkour. Thanks for listening. Stay healthy, be good to each other. I'll speak to you next week.